your forecast first. Sponsored by Matex Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing.
All right, well, it's been a little bit of a gloomy day across central Illinois. We've been seeing much cooler temperatures compared to yesterday, nearly 70 degrees. Today, we were into the 40s, and we're going to continue to fall here in the next few hours. But as you can see, here comes the rain. Very much needed precipitation is now moving across central Illinois. Current temperatures right now into the 40s at 44 in Champaign, 44 in Danville, and 46 in Petersburg. But these temperatures are going to be falling and staying relatively on the chilly side as we round out the weekend. I'll be tracking all that precipitation coming up. WCIA 3 News starts right now.
Now on WCIA
now in
3
effect
News.
throughout the state, how it's forcing gyms to change to new ways of holding classes moving forward. Plus, relief is on the way for some small businesses in Springfield. Hear why the city's plans to help them out took so long to come together. And 18 House Democrats say they will not be voting for Madigan for Speaker in January. Why he says he's not backing down as more associates are charged in a federal bribery case.
You're watching your local news leader. This is WCIA 3 News at 10.
So it's not that the governor is just kind of picking who and cannot choose. It's all being done by the stats, by the numbers.
Gyms and fitness centers are allowed to stay open under the new mitigation plans. Good evening, I'm Jen Lask. Those plans went into effect yesterday. WCIA 3's Cole Hankey is live in our Capitol newsroom. So Cole, tell us how some of the gyms are adjusting to the new rules.
Well, most gyms don't really have to make too many changes, but on top of the 25% capacity rule, there's also a ban on indoor fitness classes. So gyms that mainly rely on those are having to change up their plans. Gyms and fitness centers were spared in the latest round of COVID mitigations from the state. During the stay-at-home order in the spring, gyms, like everywhere else, were shut down. Now, under the new rules, they can have up to 25% capacity. They also can't have indoor fitness classes, which is causing places like Orange Theory Fitness to change up its model to a more traditional approach.
Small group training classes, and now we've just changed our format to be more of an open studio concept. With that, the member gets to come in, safety precautions, of course, thermometer check, two safety questions, and a squirt of that hand sanitizer prior to going into our facility.
Contact tracing data from the governor's office did not list gyms and fitness centers in the top 10 places for possible exposure or for the places with the most traced exposures. Governor Pritzker's plan was made up by doctors, and he said the new information they have about the virus really impacted the new plan.
Now we know there's a low level of risk with certain kinds of activities if you're not packing people indoors, if you can do some of it outdoors and so on, and you see that reflected in the decisions that were made about this Tier 3 mitigation.
For Heather Cox, owner of 3 different Orange Theory franchises, she is just happy they are able to stay open this time around. She says it's not just the usual safety precautions like masks and hand sanitizer keeping their gyms safe. It's the fact that their ventilation systems were designed to continuously bring outside air in, making it safe for COVID.
So it's not that the governor is just kind of picking who and cannot choose. It's all being done by the stats, by the numbers.
And like Jen said, these mitigations went into effect on Friday. And while these capacity limits are in effect, there are also rules where people have to wear masks inside the gyms. Jen?
All right, thank you, Cole. As the pandemic has gone on, relief opportunities for small businesses are fewer and further in between. After months of figuring out how the program would work, Springfield is finally dishing out some federal funds to small businesses. The application window for the first round of funding ends on November 29th. The city is using a combination of federal and state funding to make up the grants, but the money can only go to businesses with less than 50 employees. The plans for the program began over the summer, but the city has to go through months of red tape before they were able to begin. The most a business can get is $5,000, which city aldermen are hoping can help businesses get by for now. City leaders want to work more of that out later.
This is going to replace the revenue that you would get in normal times, so hopefully this just helps take some of the sting away. Hopefully it helps extend life and until we can figure out how to get some more money to our businesses.
In total, 120 businesses will be getting the grants from the city. That money is expected to be awarded on December 14th. For the fourth straight day in a row, Illinois deaths have topped 100. The Illinois Department of Public Health reported 127 more people have died. There were also nearly 12,000 new and confirmed and probable cases of COVID-19. The preliminary 7-day statewide positivity rate for cases is now 11.5%. As of last night, 6,175 people in Illinois were reported to be in the hospital with the virus. Of those, 1,173 patients were in the ICU. 595 were on ventilators. With those COVID cases on the rise, Dr. Ezike and the Illinois Department of Public Health are encouraging people to rethink those Thanksgiving plans. Ezike is not only worried about Thanksgiving Day itself, but also the idea of people staying with family for a prolonged period of time, like college students who are home for break.
Today, yes, you can be confident that I'm not infectious today and I can enjoy the dinner. I can't tell you about tomorrow or the next day. So unless you have that repetitive screening that was, exemplified in the professional sports league, you can't really make those same inferences.
Every region of the state is still above the 8% positivity rate threshold for new mitigations. Region 6, without the U of I students' tests, is around 14.6%. Traffic was backed up for hours today on I-74 near Prospect Avenue in Champaign after a man threatened to jump from the overpass. Police were called out there this afternoon around 2 o'clock. They negotiated with the man for several hours and were able to safely stop him from potentially harming himself. He's been taken into custody and to a local hospital for treatment. House Speaker Michael Madigan is not backing out of the race to retain his seat. 18 House Democrats have announced they will not be voting for Madigan for Speaker in January. Madigan said yesterday he will not back out, even though several people close to Madigan were hit with a federal bribery charge last week. He believes that since the federal authorities did not charge him, he's not implicated in the investigation. But House Minority Leader Jim Durkin disagrees.
The federal government doesn't work that way. They build their cases up from the ground, and they provide foundation for new charges against different individuals. I've seen this happen multiple times over the years, and that's how the U.S. Attorney's Office works.
Only one other House Democrat, Stephanie Kifwood, has entered the race for Speaker. One candidate will need to get 60 votes in the House to be named the Speaker. Local officials and organizers are collaborating on a trail of murals dedicated to Black history throughout Champaign County. WCIA 3's Jared Farmer spoke with Visit Champaign County to see how they plan to pay tribute.
Visit Champaign County says that after a summer of nationwide protests against police brutality, that they wanted to create a mural that captures both local Black history and the local Black experience. VCC, U of I's College of Fine and Applied Arts and community organizers originally started with one mural, but they decided to expand from just one to an entire trail in order to include the whole county. Their first step is to partner with MTD buses to create a mobile mural. Then they'll go on to include churches, parks, and other historic landmarks on the trail. VCC's president Jane DeLuce says this could be a valuable education opportunity for Champaign.
We also wanted it to be a destination opportunity so that when travelers came here, they came here for that reason, and it gave them a sense of the community vibe. It gave them a sense of the culture we have here.
VCC says that the ultimate goal is to provide an economic boost to Black-owned businesses in the area, and says that this is a win-win for everyone in the community. In Champaign, I'm Jared Farmer, WCIA 3, your local news leader.
While they're working on the MTD mural, another is being planned for inside the new Martin Center, which will open in the spring of 2022. The University of Illinois is adding mask recycling bins. There will be 50 collection boxes set up around campus. The masks need to be disposable, such as a medical one or an N95 mask. You've got to put them in plastic bags before dropping them off, and be sure to wash your hands after. The program is free to university faculty and students. Well, it's that time of year again. Police want you to be on the lookout for Porch Pirates. The holiday shipping rush is just getting started, and 1 in 5 Americans have had a package stolen from their doorstep or mailbox. U of I Police wants to remind people of those do's and don'ts.
if you don't recognize someone, don't hold the door for them as they're coming into the building. Thieves, we see this so often where someone who lives in a secure building will unlock the door for themselves, go inside, and then someone comes in right behind them. We call it tailgating or piggybacking, but that person shouldn't be there.
U of I police also suggest scheduling deliveries for a time when you're home. The Junior League of Champaign-Urbana's annual Festival of Trees is a bit different this year. They've been working since June to turn this once in-person event into an all-virtual weekend. They kicked off with a silent auction and ongoing raffles of different Christmas items yesterday. Then they followed up today with Santa and Mrs. Claus reading the Polar Express to kids on their Facebook page. The assistant chair for the festival says all things considered, they couldn't have asked for a better weekend.
Very excited and also very humbled by the response that we've gotten so far. It is beyond what we even imagined it could be. And we're really thankful for our community for still coming out virtually and supporting us in our missions and our projects.
All proceeds will be donated to the Kids in the Kitchen and Bright Starts, two organizations dedicated to giving kids healthier food options and preparing preschoolers for kindergarten. The raffles will close tomorrow at 3. And speaking of tomorrow, Amelia, tell us what's going on in the weather this week.
Well, Jen, unfortunately, not the greatest conditions, but it's much needed precipitation that is making its way into the viewing area right now, continuing throughout the majority of the day tomorrow, at least the first half, before starting to clear on out during the afternoon hours. I'll be tracking all of that rain right after this.
WCIA.